All right, so at this time, I'll turn over to Jada for today's health nugget.
Hello, Sabbath School.
Hello, Miss Jada.
Hello.
I hope everyone had a good week and a hydrated week, which segues me into my 10-second reminder.
All right.
We're trying to be hydrated. And if you aren't sure how much water you need to get, we need water for our immunity. We're in a pandemic and just for anything.
Yes.
For our bodies to function. So if you aren't sure, take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2. Your quotient in ounces is how much water you need to get daily, or you can divide that quotient by 8, and that will tell you how many glasses of water you need. And remember, if you have congestive heart failure or some other heart failure like that, you know who you are, or renal failure. We're not talking to you because you're trying to get rid of water. And speaking of getting enough water, Janine came up with this really good way that she gets water. Remember, we talked about our hydration personalities. And I don't know if Janine is still on there. Do you have your jug?
Yeah, I'm here, Jada. I'm here.
Can you show everyone your jug? Janine has this jug.
Yeah, that's asking a whole lot, but hold on.
You know, trying to work with church members.
Family
But she came up with a way to get her water in it. Everybody has a different way to get their water in, and I think Sam actually adopted her way of getting his water in as well. And I'm considering doing it, but everybody knows. I think Peggy just buys a lot of water bottles, and Peggy just chugs down water bottles all day long. So everybody has, their different way of getting their water in. And remember, your immune system cannot function properly if you aren't getting enough water. And we're in a pandemic. You don't think properly because you're sluggish, you're depressed. A lot of reasons. You need water to function. God made us that way. Yeah. So I don't know if Janine is ready to show you her contraption, which is what it is. but she'll let us know. And those of you who still haven't gotten your water in, don't feel bad. Just keep trying until it becomes a habit, and you will see the difference. And sometimes if you have GERD or if you have heartburn, the first thing you need to do, start drinking enough water. Ask yourself, do I drink enough water? And if you start drinking enough water, you might not need any medication. And that might be your whole problem anyway. So while we're waiting on Janine to find her, there it is. See her contraption? Janine, I don't know if you all can see, go to her. She has this huge jug. And on it, it has words and ounces. And it's kind of like telling you, Janine, I can't really see it. It's kind of small on my phone, but tell them what your jug says. Your water jug.
Okay. The jug says 7 a.m. Good morning. I got to drink down to that.
Hold it over on the camera a little bit so we can see it.
All right. Okay, 7 a.m. Good morning. 9 a.m. Hydrate yourself. I got to drink down to that line. 11. Remember your goal. 1 o'clock. Keep chugging. 3 o'clock. Feeling awesome. 6 o'clock. Don't give up. 7 o'clock. Almost finished. 9 o'clock. You did it. And that goes all the way down to the bottom. It's 128 ounces. And I shop where everybody shops.
Yes. So where you get everything is where you can find that. That's a really good way if you have a problem of getting your water in. And they have different sizes. You might not need, depending on your weight. You might not need that much. You might need exactly that much. You might need more, but that's a good way. And thank you for sharing that, Janine. So today's health nugget is, of course, I've been trying to talk about pandemic foods and foods that improve our immunity. Today, we are going to talk about lentils. Lentils are extremely versatile, and you can do so many different things with lentils. legumes, period, are a superfood, but lentils, they're their own type of legume. They're considered pulses. So that means they grow in a pod. This is the way legumes look when they're grown. I never knew that. So they grow in a pod, they're flat or round, they're seeds, really. And don't confuse them with, they can be confused with green split peas or yellow split peas. These are not legumes, these are field peas. But legumes are their own thing, and they are so many different varieties, and we're going to go over that. But let me tell you the health benefits of legumes and the versatility. First of all, they're excellent fiber for both soluble and insoluble, which helps digestion. We need that roughage. We all need that roughage. It's good for your heart, helps with cholesterol, helps with high blood pressure. It helps you prevent stroke and heart attack. It has prebiotic fiber in it. So that means it feeds that good bacteria, which we've talked about many times. And too bad Nelson isn't on, because it helps to alkalize the body and helps balance the pH. Lentils are one of the most alkaline protein sources there is, alkalizing. So I guess you'll have to watch the video later. He would love that. It helps maintain your blood sugar. It's one of the best sources of plant protein. It helps with weight loss, our immunity, and it helps with your gut health because we're getting that prebiotic fiber that feeds the good bacteria. And make sure anytime you're eating something that has a lot of fiber, make sure you stay hydrated and get a lot of water so it can push through and you won't feel constipated, to just be blunt. So there's so many different types of lentils. One of the most common ones are these brown ones. They come in like this light color brown, and then they have like a darker brown. This is like the brown Spanish type lentils. Also, the red lentils are very common. These things are really easy to cook with. And then they have the green lentil. So this is the French green lentil, which it looks a little bit different than the regular green. Matter of fact, I have the regular green right here. Let me open up that package so you can see it. The French green lentils and the other green lentils look a little bit different. So you see that they're different. The French green lentils are smaller, they're speckled, they're cuter. And then you have the black lentils, which they call them beluga. And if anyone has eaten caviar, that type of caviar, beluga caviar, and it does look like beluga caviar. And I've seen recipes where vegans who want caviar actually prepare these lentils and eat them like caviar. I've never eaten unborn fish, even when I ate animals. So I don't know. I'm sure there's someone on here who's had caviar. But also there are the yellow lentils that if any of us have had Indian food or gone to an Indian restaurant, in the dal, they use the yellow lentils. I don't have any of those. And they're so versatile. I made a whole lot of meatballs. You can do a lot with lentils and you can get all of these health benefits. And the way I made these meatballs, all of the vegetables, not all of them, but some of the vegetables that we've talked about recently, I roasted them. So that means the carrots, we had the carrot health nugget, the sweet potato health nugget, onions. And remember, there's a recall on certain onions. So make sure you get the safe onions, roast these. I roasted some other vegetables too. Beets, ground them all up. Don't make a paste, grind them up, mix them up with your lentils, put your seasonings in them, something that's going to bind them. I use oatmeal, and shape them like balls and have your lentil meatballs, and they're delicious. My mother loves them. My husband loves them. He wants to make meatball sandwiches and put them in his spaghetti for spaghetti and meatballs. I actually made a mushroom gravy to go with these, so you can have kind of like the Swedish meatball type thing. And they're really delicious, and it's an excellent, lentils are one of the best substitutes for meat that you can get. And you can make meatloaf out of them. You can make bread, so many different things that you can do with lentils, and they're easy to cook. So how do you cook lentils? Lentils don't necessarily have to be soaked overnight the way regular legumes or beans do. I soak my lentils maybe a few hours. You can get them sprouted, like these are sprouted already. Well, they have soaked them for a few days, changing the water regularly, then dried them and sold them. Sprouting your beans when you soak them like that increases the nutrients in them. And you can do that yourself at home if you need to. When you cook legumes, make sure when in the pot that you skim off, a foam comes up. So you skim off that foam while it's cooking and throw it away. Just picture that foam as gas that's not going in you when you're eating it. And lentils cook very fast. Unlike regular beans, which have to cook for a long time, lentils cook very quickly. And depending on the type of lentil it is, it depends on how long it cooks. Now, some of them like these, like this brown lentil, still has like the hull on it, and that's going to cook a little longer, even though it cooks very quickly. Same thing with these other green ones or the black ones. But these red lentils cook so fast. They're split for one thing. They don't have the hull. And when you cook these, let's say you're making a stew and you're putting all your vegetables in your water that you have seasoned with all types of herbs and spices that we've talked about that are good for your immune system. And you put them in the water. These things cook they almost disintegrate. So it's like they thicken the soup, and you aren't going to see many whole ones, but it's delicious, and it makes your soup or your stew nice and creamy and thick. And you still can skim off some of it. But if you're cooking your red lentils, don't look in the pot and say, what happened to my lentils? Because that's the personality of red lentils. They're fast cooking, they have a good flavor, and I've actually made a meatloaf out of these red lentils that was really delicious because they're a little bit softer than the other ones. So there are many different varieties of lentils, many different ways to cook them, and you can get all of the health benefits. And don't forget, when you first get your lentils, spread them out and look through when you sort them, when you're about to prepare them before you wash them. Look through and make sure there are no little rocks or debris that may have come when they were packaging them. That's what you do with all beans anyway. But just go through it. And this is kind of fun, actually. You go through So you go through your beans, rinse them with water, wash them thoroughly. You can soak them. It's best to soak in all legumes. It's not as necessary as the other ones. And you just cook them. They cook 10 to 20 minutes. These are one of the fastest cooking legumes that you can get. And you have all of the nutrients that I mentioned. So does anyone have any questions or comments, or does anyone have anything to share about their experiences with lentils? And when this pandemic is over, when we have our next potluck, I think everyone should make their healthy recipe and bring it next time we do that. So I don't know when that'll be, but let's pray that this pandemic will be over soon so that we all get together to fellowship. So does anyone have any questions or comments about
Jada, do you have a recipe for the meatballs?
I made this up as I went along, but I can write it down and share it.
Thank you.
Jada, I
Yes.
have something to say, but not about legumes. I talked to my niece in California. That's Molly.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her, what is she and Steve doing about the onions? She told me, now Steve is an herbalist, and she is a retired nurse, two degrees. She said what they do, they fill a bowl with water, quite a bit of water in a bowl, and they pour in 1/4 cup of peroxide. And then they put the onions in the bowl and watch them bubble, just like peroxide is poured on a wound. And you see it bubbling like it does. She said that when it bubbles, when the onions are having that bubble going on on them, the germs are coming out. So she said that is one. I don't know whether there is a peroxide for food or what, but this is what she told me, peroxide.
There is food grade peroxide. It's refrigerated. When you go to the health food store, it's refrigerated that you can buy food grade peroxide. I wasn't going to get into this because you just never know how it turns out, but oregano oil will help kill salmonella. So this is, to me, the king of herbs, oregano. Oregano oil is very strong, very potent, and it is one of, and I don't talk a lot about supplements, but to me, it is one of the best antiviral, antifungal, antibiotic naturals that you can find anywhere. If you want to, and when I cook turkey, even though I'm vegan, I cook turkey. I wash the turkey in a pan filled with water and oregano oil. And it imparts a slight flavor, but and Janine will tell you, I cook because when Daddy was alive and he wanted turkey, I would go ahead and get him that expensive organic free range turkey, that Whole Foods that you have to order special at Whole Foods, and it costs like $50, $72, and I have paid $70+ for one turkey, raw turkey, just for him. And I wash it. Sometimes I put some other things in there, but I wash it with oregano oil. So if you're worried about your onions, you can put them in a pan, put a few drops of oregano oil in that water, and you can wash any of your vegetables that way. Oregano oil is an amazing substance. Oregano, period. And that's one reason why I cook with oregano, because of its antibacterial properties, antiviral as well. But that's another thing that you can do as well as with the onions.
Don't you have to be careful if you don't know what you're doing with that peroxide? Don't bother.
Right. Yeah, so that's why I would suggest, unless you are scientists or like that, you might want to consider a natural substance like oregano oil.
Okay, that sounds better, much more palatable.
Yes, it's palatable, and oregano is amazing. I could go on and on and on and on about what I have done with oregano oil. This is an amazing substance. It's a blessing from God. But one day we will talk about that. So yeah, I would suggest, if you're going to do onions, and if you don't have some already that are safe, you might want to consider that. So, but as we getting back to the recipe, yes, I can write down, I made this up as I went along prayerfully, but I remember what I put in there, and what you can see are, and not because I'm a texture person, I don't grind it to a paste. So you can still see I did put some veggie cheese in there, and you can see the carrot, chunks of carrot, and sweet potato. Wow. You can see that chunks in there, and then of course nutritional yeast, which we talked about, which gives things like a meaty flavor. That is a vegan's gold. Nutritional yeast. I put a lot of that in there. And so you're getting the fiber and all the health benefits that I listed from lentils. And then you have a really excellent meat substitute. So, and I bake these too as well. So when we do get together, everyone bring their healthy recipes and their healthy dishes so we can all try them. Yeah. So anybody else?
Jada, yes, these these, these vegan meatballs here that you were talking, you demonstrated, they really look good. Now, do you just eat them like that, or do you put them in, but I guess you can just eat them like that, right?
Yesterday, when they came out the oven, I just ate them like this. I just
Okay.
chomping them
Okay.
back. And I did
They
make
look
some
good.
gravy
Okay.
for them. I made some vegan gravy, of course.
Okay.
Put on there. My husband loved it with the gravy. Now he wants some marinara so that he can make a meatball sandwich, and also in his spaghetti and meatballs. So you can eat them like this.
Yeah.
You can eat them with marinara sauce,
Okay.
hot sauce,
Yes.
gravy. You can make them smaller
Mhm.
to make Swedish meatballs. I've made Swedish meatballs before out of other things. And then, of course, the thing that makes Swedish meatball, if anyone remembers that dish, Swedish meatball was the gravy. And if you make a really good gravy, you can have Swedish meatballs. But I made these kind of big.
Although they're very nutritious and delicious.
Well,
And you can make sliders out of these as well, Steve. So you get small bread or
Right.
dinner rolls and make
Yeah.
sliders out of these. That's another thing I'm going, because look, I did kind of make a lot. And we're gonna have these in every way you can think of, and I'm going to make these with sliders. Actually, I don't know if I had any small bread. Like, you get dinner rolls, put your lentil burgers. That lentils make good burgers as well, not just meatballs and meatloaf. And then you can have sliders.
Wow.
So you have it's just, they're so versatile and so good. And I know Wendy cooks lentils a lot too.
Yeah.
I've seen Wendy just do the straightforward boil them, and she puts her seasoning in them, and you just eat them with rice. I don't know if Wendy's still on or not, but
hey, yeah, I'm here. I've curried them and then put coconut milk in. That is so good.
Yeah.
Yum, that sounds good.
It does. I'll tell you.
Yeah, if you
Know
saute
your
some
food.
onions and garlic and curry, and then pour the milk, coconut milk in after when it starts to soften.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah.
And which variety do you use? Because there's so many different varieties as we see here of lentils, and they cook differently. Which variety do you do when you do your curry, Wendy?
I do the brown one. Like you said, the red one is really soft. I made some soup with the red one. And when I tell you, you don't see it, you put it in there, but it incinerates. It's gone. So the red or the green works best for the curry lentils.
And then the beluga lentils, I don't know if you all want me to open this package, but I can open it. They're small, round, like caviar. Who here has had caviar? Steve?
What's that?
Steve, have you had caviar?
You know what I have now. I'm not a real fan of caviar, but I have tasted. Yes.
Yeah, I have tasted too, Jada.
Yes.
And it's something I don't desire.
Right. I'm not that crazy.
I'm not that wealth. I ain't got that much wealth in my blood.
You can get some lentils and replace that. The fact of eating fish roe, even when I ate animals, it just did not sit well with me. But some people like it.
Same with me, Jada. Yeah.
Each his own.
Same with me too.
It sounds
it's me. It's fun to do this. So you take you can cook these like you would. These are going to cook longer because they still have the hull in. They're not like the red that when you cook them they go away. But you can cook them and make your own caviar, your own flavoring that you like.
Yeah.
Or you can just cook them the way you would any other beans, and you just have that powerhouse. These are superfood powerhouses.
Okay.
So any other questions or comments, or these are the sprouted ones, the green sprouted.
Can I ask you a question about the oregano oil?
Yes.
Since you brought it up.
Yes.
So what you had is the food grade? Because I have some, but I think it's essential oil. Like, it's super, super strong. But
they're all the oregano oils are essential oil, and you do have to be careful. They're extremely strong. There's some brands I have. Let me see if I have one here. That most brands cut their oregano oil with olive oil. I think I have it with me because I didn't know we were going to be talking about this, but
Yeah.
most brands do cut it with olive oil. And for the beginner, I would suggest that you get a brand, which is pretty common, that has olive oil mixed in it. I, however, because I started using oregano oil over 20 years ago, I buy the food grade. I bought, usually there's one that comes in just a 10 cc, very small bottle, extremely strong. I would get that and buy empty capsules, fill up the empty caps, put it in there. You cannot let this touch your skin. This putting your under the tongue, all that. This burns like the Dickens. It burns like the Dickens. But I would put some drops in an empty capsule and make sure I rinsed off the capsule before I took it, just in case some spilled on the outside, because you will feel it going down. It burns, but it's killing every pathogen in its weight.
Whoa.
So for beginners, get oregano oil that is cut with olive oil. You can look on the back. This is full strength. And
is
you
all
can
of it edible? So because the one I have, I don't think it's edible. I'm not sure though, but it's been some months ago because I just thought you can take it. And I was like, oh my God, I think I just killed myself. Before COVID almost killed me.
Well, I'm going to tell you about oregano oil.
So I was like, oh, I need to throw this away. I mean, I got
no, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. Use it to wash. You can just fill up a basin, 1 or 2 drops, and you can wash your vegetables out with that. Oregano, matter of fact, this one is spilling because when I ordered it, I called them and said, I'm used to it now. This would burn the average person to have this 100 proof. I'm gonna say this 100% oregano oil on your skin can burn you, but it's so excellent. I'm used to it now. I've been burned by oregano oil I don't know how many times. But I'm going to tell you a story about oregano oil because I have many. And I've told a few people this. If you have an abscess with your tooth, you can take a drop of oregano oil, put it on in a bowl, just 1 drop, and take your floss, dip it in there, and then floss that tooth where you have the abscess, and it will help that abscess to go away. Now, for those who can stand it, and I've done this before, this is not for a beginner. This is not for a beginner. 1 drop of 100% oregano oil on your wet toothbrush, and you brush your teeth with that, will also kill all type of bacteria in your gum as well. Yes, you will burn. I've gotten used to that burn, but it will burn, and you can put some like coconut oil or something on your lips so it won't burn your lips or something like that. And it kills all type of pathogens. I've told other people about that. It really helps. It's a natural antibiotic, natural antiviral, and what's the other kind of pathogen that you need? I mentioned that earlier. This is the king of herbs as far as I'm concerned. So if you're worried about washing stuff, put just a drop in a basin full of water, a couple of drops, and wash your vegetables in it and dry them completely. Or let them sit there for a couple of minutes and then take them out.
Jada.
Yes.
What kind of lentils did you use for the meatballs?
For these meatballs, I use the brown lentils.
Brown lentils.
Yeah, the brown lentils stand up to cooking a lot better than the red. The red, if you want something that's soft and quick, these are the quickest cooking lentils that I've ever tried. And if you want something to make your stew or soup creamy, because they disintegrate, it will give it a body. So if you want to make a meatball or meatloaf, even though I have made meatloaf with this, I would suggest you use the brown or the green, whether it's the French green or the regular green. These are the sprouted. These are sprouted. The green and brown look very similar. These are sprouted. They're really dark ones, but I didn't have any of those to show you all. But there's some dark ones too.
Okay.
So any other questions, or anyone had any other comments about how they've used lentils? All right. Well, I hope you all try some lentils in your diet. Easy, full of nutrients. It's good for whatever else you almost. So just try some lentils. Boy, this fun playing these things. Oh, and by the way, the French green lentils are speckled, which is different from the other. Not only are they smaller, but I don't know if you can see they're speckled. They kind of have like a bluish color too.
Jada, you mentioned a meat to put in the meatballs, a kind of substitute.
Yeah, these are an excellent substitute for meat, these meatballs.
But an additive that you used in the meatballs
to make it taste meaty.
Yes.
Oh, the nutritional yeast. I don't know if you remember the nutritional yeast versus brewer's yeast health nugget we did. The nutritional yeast is the additive that I put in, which has its own health benefits that helps give things, to me, a meaty taste. And if you put a fat in it, and some other seasonings, you can use it as a cheese sauce, and people like to do that. But to me, it helps things to meat substitutes that you're cooking from scratch, like you would your meatball, helps give them a meaty flavor to me.
Okay. And oatmeal, you said you used oats?
Yeah, oats were my binder. Some people like to use breadcrumbs. I didn't want to use any breadcrumbs, but you can use breadcrumbs as your binder. You would basically make these lentil meatballs the same way that you would if you use an animal product, except the lentils are going to be your meat, but you're going to add other vegetables to round it out. Just the lentils itself, to me, I've tried that just the lentils didn't stick that well together, but you put other vegetables in there, your root vegetable, whatever your favorite kind of vegetables are, and you put those in there, that helps them give your meatball a body.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions or any experiences that you've had with meatballs? Oh, and I mean with lentils. And don't forget, split peas, split green peas, and split yellow peas are not lentils. They're similar. They cook fast, and Mama likes split green split pea soup, so I'm going to be making this for her this week. But they are not lentils. They look very similar, so don't be confused about that. These things are different.
Okay.
And they're probably interchangeable, but just don't get it twisted. All right. Any other questions, comments, or experiences you've had with lentils? All right. Well, thank you.
Joanne Dixon Smith makes an awesome, is it Joanne or Janet, her sister? I don't know, one of them. They make an awesome lentil soup. I mean, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But I did notice that they had some jalapeno pepper, a whole jalapeno pepper in it, which makes it quite spicy. But it was delicious. You can tolerate spice.
That's what I wanted yesterday. I forgot to order that when I had my Whole Foods order delivered. I did want to put that, roast some jalapenos and roast it in and put them in my my meatballs. But I thought, shoot, totally forgot about that. Yeah. But yes, it will take it to another level.
Yeah.
I don't know if you all know me, but I like my heat. I like my food to bite me back, and I like it.
Yeah, they look beautiful.
And also, you can roast roasted red bell peppers are delicious. I actually had some, but because I was rushing, the Sabbath was coming, I forgot to put those in, but in as well. But you can put whatever vegetables that you want, and that's the beauty of it. When you make this, and you're getting the protein, it's an excellent meat substitute. Roasted red bell peppers are good. The jalapenos, turnips, I guess. I'm not a turnip fan, but if you want to hide some turnips, you can put some turnips in here. You could put kale in here.
Yes,
It's
yes.
all delicious.
Right.
So any other questions or comments about lentils?
You've done an outstanding job again, Jada. Outstanding.
Well, thank you very much, Steve.
Yes.
Yes.